gotta dance. You gotta dance. Even if you take a step back, keep dancing. Even if you feel like you are falling and you feel like it's gonna be hard to get up, get back up and keep dancing. Keep dancing, and I'm gonna learn to flow with life. When I learn to flow with life, now it doesn't matter what other people
No matter what you go through, keep dreaming. Keep going, don't quit, keep reaching. You can be the best you wanna be, gotta believe it. Keep the faith, the mustard seed is all needed. You gotta want it as bad as you breathe. My journey and your journey different but unique. I wear the CJ on my chest as a reminder that I can do all things.
Top of the morning. Welcome back to the Keep Dreaming podcast. Today we are tackling episode 14. So for my viewers, for my listeners, again, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for tuning in every single week. This podcast would not be as successful as it is if it wasn't for your viewership, if it wasn't for you tuning in, sharing, liking. So I would just encourage you all to keep doing what you're doing. Know that my gratitude goes extensively to you, and I'm very, very appreciative. And so I just always want to make sure that I acknowledge you, but I also want to point out something as well. If you are viewing the video on today, you see I'm dressed in all black. And so a little bit of my ego is going to come out today. Anytime I'm wearing all black, I'm coming to do it. I'm coming to kill it. I'm coming to bring the energy, and that's what I'm doing on today. And so that's the energy that I got. That's the energy that I'm coming with, because today's topic is going to be very important. And I think that this will help you in order to propel you forward into whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. So I'm dressed in my all black, ready to kill it for today's episode. But for our coffee segment on today, I just got some regular coffee. Black coffee, as you would say. No filter, no flavor, no nothing. I'm just coming to you straight. So if you got your coffee, if you got your mug, your water, whatever it is, let's do a cheers. Now let's jump into today's episode. So imagine yourself, you're on the dance floor. Anytime you're on the dance floor, you're doing different moves, whether you're doing the nae-nae, whether you're doing the salsa. When you're dancing, it involves a lot of moves. And one day, for myself, I pray that I am fortunate to have a son and mother's first dance at a wedding. I'm not married, and I know my mom is watching this, and so we're gonna have our time. But whenever we have that dance, whenever you are on the dance floor dancing, obviously you're going to take steps, and your steps are gonna be forward, but then you will also take steps backwards. Let me say that again. When you're dancing, you're gonna take steps forward, but you're also gonna take steps backwards. And the steps backwards are still part of the dance. And that's today's title for today's episode. The steps backwards are a part of the dance. So when I was thinking about what it is that I wanted to talk to you all on today, oftentimes we shun away from failure. We shun away from losses, but those are just as important as the wins, as moving forward, as the steps forward. And so for the title for today, the title again is going to be The Steps Backward Are a Part of the Dance. And so what I want you to do, I want you to keep dancing. Keep dancing, keep moving your feet. If you take steps forward, great. But even if you take steps backward, there have been many times in our lives that we take steps backwards, but those are still part of the dance. Those are still part of the journey. Those are still a part of the process. So you can't hang your head when you take a step backward. You can't get in the dumps when you take a step backward. Rather, it's getting ready to propel you forward. It's getting ready to move you forward. So we got to switch, again, our perspective. We got to switch our mindset and know that it's happening for us, not to us. It's happening for the process, not against the process. I got to be able to move my hips. I got to be able to flow with the waves of life. I got to be able to flow to the rhythms of life, and I can't allow my steps backward to throw me off. So for the movie segment, in 2018, I think I kind of mentioned this earlier in the season, but I'm a Marvel fan. And so in 2018, the movie Avengers: Infinity War came out. Now, they weren't doing much dancing in this movie, but there's a particular lesson that I want to pull out of Avengers: Infinity War. There was an enemy by the name of Thanos. And so Thanos was going around and he was collecting these Infinity Stones. So pause right there. When he collected these Infinity Stones, he put them in a glove and they made him become extremely powerful. And he was able to accomplish all types of things. Now, ultimately, he ends up getting defeated in the end, but stick with me on the Infinity Stones. He started to collect them and they started to give him more and more power. The lesson that I want to pull out is that the ills that you experience, the things that you think are failures, those are actually your infinity stones. And so I don't want you to run away from them. Rather, I want you to pick those things up. I want you to learn from them, and I want you to put them in that glove. And as you put them in that glove, you become more and more powerful. You see, wisdom is being able to take things that I've been through, things that I've gone through, being able to learn from them, and now I grow from them. But if I don't grow, then they turn into losses. But if I learn from them, now they turn into lessons. I've said this before. The L's in your life, they can either be lessons or losses. If I learn from that L, if I take a moment, if I breathe, if I catch my breath, if I take a time, if I pause and learn from it, now it becomes a lesson. Now I know what to do next time. Now I know how to conquer this move on the next go around, and now I grow from it. But if I run away from it, if I never take the time to pay attention as to why this happened, or God, what you're trying to show me through it, now it becomes a loss, and more than likely, I'm going to have to repeat it. I'm not repeating anything in life if I don't have to. So the L's that you're experiencing, turn them into lessons and not losses. As far as for me, in a personal story, there was one time where I experienced a huge L, and I thought that I had taken a step back. Rather, I was actually taking a step forward. And I've talked about this a couple different times, but there was a season where I had lost $100,000. Now, I'm pretty sure like anybody in my shoes in that experience, you would consider that an L. You would consider that a failure. And I thought that I had taken several steps back to the point where I was speaking with my lawyer on the verge of filing Chapter 7 bankruptcy because I didn't know what else to do. But when I sat with God about it, God, why did this happen? Why did you let this happen? It was never about the $100,000. You see, in this world, in this life, money comes, money goes. Success happens, success leaves. The dreams happen and then they fade away. But it's the journey and it's the process. And what I learned in that experience is that I never had financial literacy. So whether it was $100,000, whether it was $50, I didn't have the application of financial literacy in order to steward what I had. So that was a lesson. And when I leaned into it, I gained financial literacy. So you best believe when that $100,000 came back around, and it has, now I know what to do with it. Now I know how to steward it. And so that L that I experienced, that 2 steps back, I kept dancing with it. I kept moving with it. I kept flowing with it. And now I turned it into a lesson and I was able to grow. So what's the connecting piece for you as a viewer? When we're talking about Avengers Infinity War, and we're talking about my lesson that I learned or the L that I experienced, you got to dance. You got to dance. Even if you take a step back, keep dancing. Even if you feel like you have fallen and you feel like it's going to be hard to get up, get back up and keep dancing. Take in the L's, breathe in the L's, experience the L's, and then turn them into the lessons. Turn them into things that you can learn from, things that you can grow from. Don't let them stay in the loss realm. Don't let them stay on the bottom floor. Pick them up, learn from them, turn them into lessons, and keep dancing. I'm going to say that again. Turn the L's into lessons and keep dancing. I got to keep moving my feet. The steps backwards are still part of the dance. Now, here's a quick tactic that I want us to use whenever it is that we are experiencing some type of L. We're going to call this the lesson filter. Whenever you feel like you are experiencing an L in life, I want you to take a step back and I want you to ask yourself, I want you to filter through different questions. What is this teaching me? What is this showing me that I'm lacking? What is this showing me that I need to grow in? What is this showing me as far as resources that I do not have? Being able to ask yourself those hard questions. And the reality is that we're not perfect. If we were perfect, we probably would not be experiencing L's. And so if an L happens, ask yourself what it is that God is trying to teach me. What is it that God is trying to show me? And if you can answer those questions, every time you answer the question, then it becomes a lesson that you grow from. It becomes a lesson that you learn from. And so one tactic that you can use is going to be the lesson filter. I got to be able to learn from everything that it is that I'm going through in life, not just the wins. Obviously, when a win happens, you're so excited, you're so proud. Oftentimes, you're not paying attention to how you were able to accomplish it anyway. The lessons show you the progress. The lessons show you are where you are on your map. The lessons show you the journey in which you are in. I got to be able to understand where am I on the map. And oftentimes, it's going to be the L's. But those L's are not a pause for me to go back in the other direction. I got to keep moving forward. I got to keep dancing. Often I say that if the promised land is the destination that has all of your dreams, don't go back to Egypt. Sometimes an ill will happen and it will disturb your confidence. It will disturb your faith. And you will think to yourself, I'm not worthy of this. Or, you know what, this isn't going to happen. This is too much. Don't go back to Egypt. Don't go back to slavery. Don't go back to the past. Don't go back to where God pulled you out of. Those lessons are meant to build you. Those lessons are meant to mold you and shape you, to prepare you for the promised land. A lot of people talk about manifestation. Manifestation, all it is maturity. We're not talking about manifesting and bringing things into reality. You don't determine that. God determines that. But what you can control is, are you mature for the dream? So another tactic that I want you to take away is manifestation equals maturity. Lessons or L's, they reveal what still needs to grow. They reveal what still needs to mature in order to prepare you to walk into the promised land of your life, in order for you to walk into the dreams and the desires that God has for you. You can't walk in there if you don't have the maturity. God is not going to let you mess up what he has ordained over your life. And so if you haven't gotten there yet, and if an L shows up, all it is revealing areas that you need to still grow in, still mature in. So ask yourself, what it is that I'm trying to manifest, am I mature for it? Have I grown into it yet? And if I haven't, that lesson is going to reveal itself and show it to you. When I think back over what it is that I had experienced, I hadn't experienced financial literacy. Once I gained the lesson of financial literacy and I matured in it, now I'm able to walk into more finances because I know how to steward it, I know how to control it, I know how to manage it based on what that L revealed in me, and now I can grow from that. So manifestation, all it is maturity, preparing you for the promised land. So embrace that season. Embrace that journey in order to go into it. Now, for our Bible story on today, I'm going to be pulling from my good brother Paul. So I'm going to be reading from 2 Corinthians chapter 12, and the verses are going to be 7 through 12. And so in this passage, Paul is talking about a thorn that was in his side. He's experiencing pain. He's experiencing something that he's asked God to take away. And obviously in this moment, God does not take it away. Some of the things that you are experiencing in life, the ails that you are experiencing, the losses that you may feel like you are accumulating over and over and over, those are actually lessons. But even in through the lessons, there's still a thing that we call grace that is going to help you through the tough seasons that you're going to experience in life. In this life, Jesus said we will suffer, but fret not because he's overcome the world. Let's read it. It may take me a little minute, but I'm reading out the Message version. And again, it's 2 Corinthians chapter 12, 7 through 10. And it says, because of the extravagance of those revelations, and so I wouldn't get a big head, I was given the gift of a handicap to keep me in constant touch with my limitations. Satan's angels did his best to get me down. What in fact he did was push me to my knees. No danger then of walking around high and mighty. At first, I didn't think of it as a gift and begged God to remove it. 3 times I did that. And then he told me, here we go. My grace is enough. It's all you need. My strength comes into its own in your weakness. Paul is asking God to take away this thorn that's in his side. And what Paul feels is that because this is revealing a weakness for him, this is revealing pain, he can't continue to accomplish what it is that God has set on him to do. But God says, my grace is sufficient. Whatever season that you're in, even if you feel like you're not accomplishing what it is that you feel like you should be accomplished, God's grace is sufficient. His strength is made in power in your weakness. There are going to be a lot of things that we can't accomplish on our own, and that's when God steps in and he says, I got you. But you got to stay in it. Paul had to realize that this storm wasn't coming out. And so even though it wasn't coming out, that was not a pass for him to quit. That was not a pass for him to give up. Rather, it was a pass for him to keep going. It was a message for him to keep going because God's grace is going to follow him, and then it's going to strengthen him. It's going to give him the power that he needs. And so the ills that you are experiencing, even if you take 2 steps back, it's going to be grace that pulls you back forward. It's going to be grace that gives you strength to get back up. Though you may be knocked down, you have the ability to get back up, and it's all through God's grace and knowing that his grace is sufficient and that his power is made strong in your weakness. So normally I have 2 or 3 principles that I want us to take away from this lesson, but for this lesson, for this episode, I just have one. And that principle is learn to dance. Learn to dance. Be able to flow with life, being able to go forward and backwards. But the other part of dancing is almost like a lost art in today's time because a lot of people feel a sense of embarrassment or they feel like people are judging them. I want you to dance freely. I want you to be able to dance without the implications of what other people may think. When I dance freely, now I get to flow. And when I get to flow with life, now I get to be swayed however God wants me to sway. And I get to flow in whatever direction that it is that he wants me to flow in without the factor of other people's opinions. And so when I say dance, and I want you to learn to dance, I want you to learn to stop caring about what other people may think. Oftentimes when you take a step back, it plays a little bit into your mind about how you feel, but oftentimes we think, man, what would this person think of me? Oh, they're going to think that I'm not being successful, or they're going to think that I'm not making it happen when I know that I'm trying to make it happen. Forget them. I'm going to dance regardless of who's watching. I'm going to move regardless of whose opinions that it is, because I am confident in myself. I am fearfully and wonderfully made in Christ Jesus, and he is going to do a wonderful work within me. So I'm going to dance. If I take 2 steps back, I'm going to keep dancing. If I take 10 steps back, I'm going to keep dancing. If I move to the side, I'm going to keep dancing. If I move to the left, if I move to the right, I'm going to keep dancing, and I'm going to learn to flow with life. When I learn to flow with life, now it doesn't matter what other people may think. Now I start to embrace the lessons. Now I start to embrace the L's, because I know that it's working for me, not against me. Now I know that I have the confidence within me, and God's grace is sufficient. His grace is sufficient. It's going to help me to keep dancing. It's going to help me to keep moving. And eventually I'm going to get to where it is that I'm trying to get to. Eventually I'm going to learn what it is that I'm trying to learn. And eventually I'm going to be able to keep dancing, because I'm not worried about what other people may think. This lesson is built around being able to embrace failure, being able to embrace the setbacks. We're not going to be able to avoid them. They are going to happen. They are a part of life. And so if it's a part of life, remember I said, just as much as the sun is shining, I got to be able to embrace the rain. So just as much as I want to go forward, I got to be able to embrace moments where I may go back. Just because I go back doesn't mean I got to stay there, but it's an opportunity for me to learn as to what happened, and then I can move forward. So if you feel like this lesson really spoke to you, again, I want you to make sure that you share with somebody that wants to keep dancing, somebody that needs to dance, because all of this is a part of life, and nothing is straightforward as we may think or hope for it to be. Sometimes we got to go back, but just again, the 2 steps back are still a part of the dance. So your homework for this week, I haven't been really giving out any homework assignments lately, because I just really wanted to kind of focus on the lesson, but there's just one homework assignment. Figure out one L that happened in your life, one that was very impactful, one that was probably very hurtful, and I want you to sit with it this week. And I want you to think about it and ask yourself, how can this help me dance? How can this help me grow? What did I learn from this? What did it actually do to me? And if you can answer those questions, that L that you experience now starts to turn into a lesson. And so again, I just thank you all for tuning in to the Keep Dreaming podcast. We are almost to episode 15. So what I want you to do, I want you to like, share, and subscribe. But more importantly, I want you to reflect over this episode. I felt like there were a lot of gems that could be useful in your life, useful for your family, useful for your friends. So make sure you share with them, and make sure you join me next week for episode 15 on the Keep Dreaming podcast. As always, I appreciate you all. My prayer is that you have an amazing week this week. Be blessed. And as always, keep dreaming.
After you accomplish that one dream, you owe it to yourself, you owe it to God, you owe it to your family to be able to do it again, to dream again. But when you dream again, you're not only dreaming for yourself, somebody else is